welcome to a very special video. This video marks 3 special occasions. My 3 years on YouTube, my 10 years of filmmaking, and this is also my 100th video. Hello everyone, I am in Wolverton. I've made it, and this is where, well, this is basically where it all began really, my sort of start of my own film career. And as you can see, I am walking down the street. I've just got here by bus, and I'm going to take you to where my Horrorland film was started. My first film, Horrorland, that's what it was called. It was my first ever animated film as well. But it was actually my first ever film that I've created. And I'm just walking down the street now to an old car park where we used to park up where we made the film. There's a gap there. Hey, there's a gap there, just almost fell over that. Yes, basically, low bridge. Okay, so, as I was saying, basically the car park there's the car park. That's where we parked up to make the film. That's where we parked up there. And where the studio is, low bridge. Right, where Horrorland was made, now I've crossed the road, is actually the Living Archive. Old bathhouse is what it was called. And it's next to a Tesco. It's where them doors were actually. But that's where I made my first animated film, which is where them doors are. That is where I made my first film.
Oh! What just happened here?
Well, don't ask me, David. I'm not a fortune teller.
Okay guys, who'll push this big huge red button on a train track?
Well, what happened was, we got called in October 2005. There was me and there were 2 other directors. They were my school friends. They used to be my school friends. I don't make any contact with them anymore. But they said to me that basically, well, my teacher said to us that he said, we're going to sign you up to do an animated film. And we were all like, really? An actual animated movie? And he said, yes, an actual animated film. So I was like, really? It's quite shocking really, because it's not every day you get your teacher coming up to you saying you're going to make an actual animated film. However, it wasn't exactly as we thought. I mean, it was stop motion, which was good. But we didn't, have to draw and then watch them move. What we had to do was we had little cardboard cutouts, draw our characters and cut them into these little cardboard pieces, and we had many of them. We had loads of emotions, and basically people said to us, what kind of film do you want to make? Us 3 had to choose what 3 we had to make, so we chose a film which was a horror film because I got inspired by Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which was a comedy horror, and plus my black comedies are my favourite genre. So I said we should do a black comedy horror film, which is basically about 3 boys, played by me and my 2 other characters, who actually used our real names, and we decided to call it Horrorland because it was based in a theme park.
Run!
Hey, his pants! That's my pants! Oh!
Every man for himself!
Run faster!
I can get anything this worse.
Horrorland took 5 weeks to make, and it was, when I was making this film, I just thought, is this really going to work? You know, because they were coming up, because when we were coming up with ideas, it was me and the 2 other directors, we were coming up with all these ideas of what to do, and some of the ideas couldn't be in place because we were under many strict rules. We were under strict rules that we couldn't put any swearing in it, we couldn't put too much violence, we couldn't put too much into it, basically. But Laura said that the film has to be long enough for a short film, but you can't put so much into it. I mean, we had loads of ideas, which actually, when we were making the film, I mean, what was so funny is we didn't actually write a script. We just thought of it along the way, and last minute we were drawing all these backgrounds and playing with these characters and everything. We literally just drew these characters, and that was it, basically. And last minute we said we should do the characters to do this and the characters to do that, you know, and then we had ideas like we should put zombies in the tunnel, and a panther, a cat that turns into a panther. That was my idea. And I think one of the directors said that he wants a zombie dog in it. Horrorland won 2 certificate awards, and by that I mean it won Best Animated Short Film in 2006, and it won again in 2007 in Bradford. Bradford in Yorkshire was actually, we got the email a year later after our first award in November 2006, which we actually got premiered at the Escape building in the cinema. We won our first certificate, which is the yellow one, for Best Animated Short Film in 2006. But then we got the second one here in Bradford at the what was it? The Cooperative Young Filmmakers in 2007. And it was actually like a big stage. It was actually like a National Television Awards. We actually went up on stage. It was amazing, and we got chosen out of 250 films in Bradford. So we had to go all the way to Yorkshire to get that award, certificate award, and it was insane. You know, we actually had an audience, and people laughed at our film and loved it. And also, not just that, you know, we won second place out of 250 films. We lost out to The Bad Nights, the Lego movie. That's who we lost out to, but that's a great film, so I can understand why it won. But we were very happy to win second place out of 250 films. We were very happy with that.
I had enough of this. I quit.
But the good news was that 4 years later, after Horrorland, was that I actually got a chance to make another stop-motion little film. Not as big as Horrorland, but the next film turned out to be Sticky Situation. Hi guys, I'm here at the second location, which is near the train station, and this is where I made my second project after Horrorland. So it was a 4-year gap between 2006 and 2010, and where I made it, BBC Blast put their location around here. It's where the car park is, but they've sort of moved it, and it's just behind these trees. It's where the skateboard park is. If I could zoom in somewhere along here, it's where along there where Sticky Situation was a film that BBC Blast had given me to make, because they came to Milton Keynes. They come to Milton Keynes every 5 years apparently, and they let people from between 13 to 19, so teenagers, to make short films, skateboard, show talent, everything like that. And I had an idea to make a little squirrel movie, and I basically got the inspiration off Ice Age because of Scrap, my favourite, one of my favourite animated characters. And I just wanted to make my own little squirrel film where a little squirrel that I call Steve basically tries to get an acorn out of a sticky tar stain, but he can't do it. And the animation is so bizarre. I mean, you know, the bit where he takes out his tongue and uses it as a dynamite stick. I don't know why I thought of that, but it just seemed to work so well. It's kind of like a, you know, Tex Avery, Chuck Jones sort of moment. Sticky Situation was critically acclaimed by everybody. The guy who ran the animation bit said that it was the best film he'd ever seen in 4 years. And I remember showing it to my friends at school and my teachers at school and my parents and everyone, and they just went, "That's so brilliant." They just said, "That's amazing." And even my mum said that you should definitely get into animation because stop motion is your skill. But with the success of Sticky Situation, I always said to myself that I'd like to make short stop motion animated films, you know, just like the little squirrel cartoons and stuff, like a little series, like a little cartoon series. So I was hoping to make a sequel or a squeakquel to the squirrel film Sticky Situation. And I did have an idea back in 2011 actually and 2012 called Bad Egg, where Steve the squirrel would find a nest of eggs and the chicks or ducklings would attack him. But unfortunately I didn't get that sequel made until 2013. Bad Egg was a dream come true for me. To make a little sequel for that squirrel to come back was just brilliant, you know, it was just great. And not only that, I got to make another sequel afterwards called Bug Off, where Steve the squirrel gets a flea that's actually bugging him.
Doing, doing, doing. Doing. Huh? Ding, oh. Ding, ding,
I've arrived at my third location of where I made my films, and this is where I did the squirrel films, squirrel sequels. Also I did the UK Beasts, well created it, the Wildlife and Return from Extinction, and it's right here at my old college, Milton Keynes College. Wildlife, which I made back in 2013, was probably the most controversial film I'd ever made. Everyone was moaning the fact that I was making a documentary about wild zoo animals attacking humans in the zoo. But the thing is, I made this documentary to raise awareness because it happens. I read in the news that a child died from African dogs, a tiger killed a zookeeper, and a woman jumped into a polar bear pen and got attacked. This was all happening, and I just thought to myself, I've got to make a documentary and say to everyone, zoo animals are not flipping pets. They are wild animals, they will attack. That is where, and what I was planning to do. That is what I wanted to say to everyone. Wildlife received mixed to negative reviews in the end, because everyone just said it's so dark and very like the most disturbing project they ever had. And for that result, my film didn't even go to the festival, the MK College Festival, to be aired, because they said it was too disturbing. So, in the end, I just said, okay, fine. But despite the attacks and despite the negative criticism, the good news was it earned me a distinction, so I got a high grade for it. So in the end, the whole thing was a result. I mean, they didn't badly hate it so bad. You know, I mean, there was reviews saying that they loved the footage, the narration from Tamara was good, who I worked with, Tamara Wilson. You know, she was my narrator, and they said they liked her voice and everything, but they just didn't like the film because of its subject, which is understandable, yeah, but the thing is, it's reality, so they've got to get used to it.
The first animal to look at which has attacked humans in the zoo is the king of the beasts, the lion. Lions live in Africa. They are an endangered species and also man-eaters. They live in prides, up to 30 strong, and work together when hunting to bring down large prey, such as wildebeest, zebra, and buffalo. In the zoo, the lion is still a lethal animal. There have been many videos on the internet of lions trying to attack humans in a zoo.
But the good news was a year later I made another documentary, and Return from Extinction was like a follow-up to the wildlife. It was another thing we had to do for college, and my idea was to go out to London, because the wildlife was filmed in Whipsnade Zoo, but Return from Extinction was filmed at the London Natural History Museum. And my idea was, and I was reading this article about the mammoths coming back to life, because scientists are planning to do that. And I just thought, that is incredible. Do you imagine if they actually did bring back mammoths to life? So I made a documentary about that. I filmed my documentary on Valentine's Day, actually. My girlfriend came with me to the museum, and I was filming the whole thing. It was so funny. And when I got back, I did some editing and I put it together, and then Tamara came along and said that she'd love to narrate the project again. And we worked together again, and Return from Extinction this time got positive reviews because it wasn't as bad as the wildlife. Despite that, it only earned me a merit. So, positive reviews that earned me a merit. Wildlife gets negative reviews but gets a distinction. Maybe I should just carry on making controversial documentaries. Earn me the higher grades.
After the dinosaurs went extinct millions of years ago, mammoth took over the land as one of the most biggest and magnificent creatures to walk the earth. There were many different types of species of mammoth. The elephant started off as a small animal that used to live in caves across Asia. But as the evolution grew stronger, the elephant and the mammoth species grew into massive sizes. However, out of all the elephant ancestors, it's the woolly mammoth that the scientists want to bring back to life.
2012, before the wildlife and Return from Extinction, was my comeback year, 2012, because we were in college set to do a 2-minute project. The film literally had to be just 2 minutes long, and I had to think of an idea of what my project could be, and the idea was to make a 2-minute film about the Essex Lion story, to spoof it up, because that year everyone had thought there was a lion loose in Essex, which I thought was hilarious. It turned out to be a big fat cat called Teddy. So I thought, would it be fun if I could do the same thing? Let's make a tiny little mockumentary about Charlie, who's my best friend who plays the presenter in the film. He's out to search the beast that lurks in the UK. You don't know what it is. He doesn't mention what it's called. He just calls it the beast. And it turns out to be a bug or a cat or a dog or something.
Hi, I'm Charlie, and I'm a nature lover. We're here to search for the beast that lurks in the UK. Let's go! This beast lurks in dark forests as it hunts its prey. It can just about eat anything. In fact, it could be hunting me right now.
The UK beast literally took about 20 minutes to make. However, after editing it, putting it together, and had positive reviews, that also hit controversy before the wildlife. Someone had written a review on my documentary saying that because I showed him a cat and everyone thought it was a lion, like literally a lion in the film, people said, "You've messed with our heads." And I said, "What?" And the review literally said, "You messed with our heads, you were messing with our minds." And I just thought, really? I thought, it's a joke. The film is actually meant to be a joke. There's not meant to be a lion or a tiger. It never mentioned at all that there was going to be a lion or a tiger. It just mentioned that they were looking for an animal, and it turned out to be a cat. That was the joke. People thought, oh my god, there's going to be a lion or whatever. Yeah, but that was the joke. But, people got offended by that, because it was a cat. But I didn't understand why they got offended by that. And I just couldn't stop laughing, because I thought, people are so easily offended. Do you know what I mean? It's a cat. Weird.
I'm so glad we found the beast. The internet, the news, the papers, they all been talking about it. And I'm so glad that we found it. We just found it.
Everyone, this is where the UK Beast was filmed back in 2012. As you can see, there's the bridge where Charlie was filmed before. They've changed it now, they've redecorated it, which looks really, really good. and this was one of the locations where we filmed it, and we filmed here on this tree. This was the exact tree we filmed the scene with the markings. I'm actually going to see if the markings are still there. Well, look at that, they still are. There's the markings here where we said, where Charlie goes, look at these markings, they're actually still here. That's impressive. But yeah, this is the exact tree. There's no squirrels up there today. No, because normally we used to get a lot of squirrels here. In 2011 I got offered a radio show by Joe West, who was my tutor in college. Apparently he loved me talking, he loved my voice, and he just said to me, I want you to be on a radio show, because he was a big guy, you know, I want you to be on the radio, I want you to work with me. And I was like, and for ages I was like declining. I was like, I don't want to be on the radio, because I wasn't a very confident person back then. But for months and months and months, Joe was pressuring me to do one. And in the end, I said, okay, we'll do one, but on my terms. You know, I want to present it with Charlie Lloyd. And he said, absolutely. And then the Charlie and Reece show was born. The Charlie and Reece show was just me and Charlie talking behind microphones about anything. We were literally just talking about the most bizarre things. But this is what I loved about the radio show. Me and Charlie would literally just talk about anything, and we would never know where it would lead. Like literally, we would have no idea where it would go or how far it would go. But Joe West didn't care. He loved it. He thought it was just hilarious, and he just let us carry on. And he even let us get away with some controversial stuff. You know, we talked about anything, and I mean anything, and he just went, carry on. But he loved it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and working with Joe West was great. I mean, you know, he was like, gave me the confidence and everything, and he was just the greatest boss I'd ever had. And it was a great work experience as well. Really built my confidence up, and it really started to get a love for radio since then. So after, sadly, Seclo Sounds was over, it really gave me a love for doing radio. So when Esteem Radio sadly didn't go, you know, didn't carry on, which was actually 3 days before my birthday it finished, I tried to apply for another radio show, and 2 years later I started working for Seclo Sounds. The year is 2011, and it wasn't just films that I was making when I came to Milton Keynes. It was also radio shows. And that building behind, just over there, Acorn House, is when I actually started my radio career, and it was the start of also something new, because it realised that I also had a talent that people loved, which was talking and also being on the radio. So there you have it, guys. That is my actual final video done, and that is the final part of the story. Adios, amigos.